Hi, beautiful people. Good day. Hope you've been good. Hope you've been well. My name is Abiola, the Media HR, and you're welcome to my YouTube channel where I bring to you topics around HR. And the sole goal of this channel is to be able to demystify the profession HR, to be able to explain in simple terms to everyone on the other side what it is that HR is about. Before we go into the conversation today, you guys, Lagos has been hot. I hope that you have been staying hydrated as much as possible because this weather is not for the weak. But I said that to say, as much as possible, make sure that you're hydrated in this period. Make sure that as much as possible, if you can, stay away from the sun. The weather people are saying is heat wave and all of that, but we're just hoping and waiting for the wave to pass. Anyways, to the conversation today. I would be this video would be majorly addressing or particularly useful for those in the profession HR, my fellow colleagues, and of course other people can learn from this. Knowledge is never a waste, right? And what are we going to be talking about today? We'll be looking at some closely related words that are interchangeably used, but they actually mean different things. But somehow, it has been popularly misused, right? Everybody just misuse it and it has gone down like that. So I'm here today to correct those things, right? So let's go right into it. The first most popularly misused words in HR is recruitment and talent acquisition. People think they actually mean the same thing, but they don't. They are actually different, right? Recruitment is that one-time process of actively searching for talent. You need to fill a role. The process, starting from whatever your internal process is, personnel requisition, all of those, the process and all that, to the point where you post out the vacancy and people apply and send their CV with their cover letter and everything. That's the recruitment process. However, talent acquisition on the other end is, or even talent management, is a longer process, is more long term. It's not a one-off process. It's the process of actively retaining the talents that you have recruited. So it's everything recruitment. However, it still has more processes involved, such as retaining the talent, developing the talent. So you are managing the talent end to end. Recruitment is part of that process, while talent management is more long term and is longer, right? And recruitment typically for some people would last 4 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on the role. It could last as much as months, 3 months and all that. But talent management is usually more long term than that. Talent management can go on for as long as 5 years, right? Because the idea is that you want to retain the talents that you have recruited. So I hope that you've been able to learn the difference between recruitment and talent management. Okay, the second one is performance appraisal versus performance management. I think that's the second popularly misused words that people use interchangeably. Some people, they're saying appraisal, whereas they mean performance management. Sometimes they are saying performance management when they mean performance appraisal, right? So what is the difference? Performance appraisal is a periodic review of an employee's outcome or results in line with the goals that they have set. So you are reviewing within a period. For some people, appraisals are done monthly, some people quarterly, some people biannually, some people annually, once a year, right? But it's that periodic review where you're checking what this person is doing versus what they said they were going to do, the goals that they set. Whereas performance management is a whole process, and that process, again, involves appraisal. But then it's a more holistic process. It starts from goal setting. That's like the first step in PMS, or management process, as people call it, right? So it involves goal setting, it involves appraisal, it involves feedback, it involves reward. So it's like a whole circle of activities or processes involved in that whole chain. It's not just a one-off, whereas appraisal is a one-off periodic review. So you are reviewing and checking what the employer has done. So when people say performance management, and what they actually mean is appraisal, they've interchanged it, right? Performance management is a lot longer. Usually, typically, it lasts for a year. It's an annual process. I remember I said that it usually starts from the goal setting process. That's where people say, oh, we're setting KPIs and all of that and all of that. So that's the difference between the both of them. I'm sure you learned something now. So going forward, use it the right way. Okay. So the next popularly misused words are onboarding, induction, and orientation. I think those three words are also popularly misused because people think that when you say onboarding, you mean induction. In fact, you hear people say, I am going for my onboarding program, or I'm going for my, I know I always hear people say my onboarding program, but then again, onboarding is a process. It's not one-off, right? Induction, on the other hand, is usually a one-off process, a one-off event that happens when an employee newly joins the organization, and then you want to indoctrinate them with the company's culture, with the company's value. You want them to settle in, learn your ways and all of that. So you induct them. So it can be a week. So induction and orientation mean the same thing, right? You're orientating them. This is what you should do. This is where you should go to if you need this. This is who you should talk to if you need this, yada, 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 and all of that. So, but then onboarding, on the other hand, usually is a much longer process than 1 week or than 1 day. Onboarding goes on for as long as 6 months, right? You may still be onboarding an employee, getting them to go through their documentation phase, getting them to register their medical, their HMO, and all of that and all of that. Basically, just making sure that they have everything that they need to settle down into the organization. Like, when you board a plane and then you have the air hostesses come to you and say, oh, do you need this? Usually, the air hostesses are with you till the end of that flight. It's the same thing for onboarding. So HR would always continually check in with you to say, as a new employee, do you have what you need? Have you had this meeting with your line manager? Just basically checking in here and there to say, oh, have you settled into the organization? Whereas induction or orientation, as the case may be, is usually like one-off events. Sometimes it happens as you're resuming. The day you resume, you are asked to go for your orientation program, or the week after you resume, right? You go for that whole 1 week exercise and all that. So there is a difference between these words. And I hope that you've learned that difference and would begin to use it correctly, right? So next popularly misused words are HRIS and HRMS. I even hear this one a lot. People just saying HRMS, HRIS, this one, that one, that one, that one. They mean different things. For people that are wondering what is HRIS, what is HRMS, sorry, it's all of this our HR grammars. HRIS means Human Resource Information System, while HRMS means Human Resource Management System. And the difference between these two is that HRIS is a tool that collects employee information, like the name implies, right? Human Resource Information System. So, is that tool that is able to store employee data, their personal information, and all that. And that's basically what it does. It's that tool that does only that function. Whereas, on the other hand, HRMS has more functionalities. So it's able to do more than just storing employee data. It's able to do performance management. It's able to do time attendance. It's able to do leave management. You can request for your leave on it. It's able to do payroll, for example. So it has more HR functionality than just storing data, which is what HRIS. See, even me, I'm struggling to pronounce it, which is what it does. So and I've had this encounter. Some third party vendors will come and say, oh, we have this tool, HRIS tool, and all that and all that. Or sometimes they even say HRMS tool. And my expectation is that, okay, it can do about 6 functions, right? And all that and all that. But then you get to see the demo and then you see that, oh, it's just an information system tool. HRIS. So I'm sure that this will help you to be able to differentiate when you come across something like that. So HRMS is more, it's a lot more broader solution, technology solution, than just HRIS that is just able to collect data. You use it for date of birth, collect employee information and store it, and you can easily access it and all that and all that. So as HRs, it's important that because it's a thing now, technology is a thing in HR. So you find people coming to sell you this product to say, oh, this is what we do, our tool is able to do this and do that. So you yourself have to understand what you're paying for, so you know that you're getting value for the money that you are paying. So I mean, we've done about 4 differences now. There's 2 more, and that will be all for now. The 5th one is attrition and turnover. Truth be told, for me, I also just recently learned the difference. I always thought they were the same thing. When people say, oh, attrition, turnover, about 2-3 years ago, when I newly joined HR, I always thought that they were the same. They were similar. They meant the same thing. But then I had to get into calculating these metrics for some reporting that I had to do. And then I learned the difference. I was like, oh, wow. I always thought that this thing meant the same thing. So what's attrition? Attrition is when human beings or your talent voluntarily leaves the organization, right? While turnover is the rate at which this happens. Attrition is the process. Turnover is the rate. How frequently does this occur? So you're calculating, you want to know the rate at which is occur, the rate of reaction. Does it occur very rapidly or does it occur slowly? While attrition is the process of an employee disengaging or separating from the employer, right? Resignation, they leave the organization. But turnover is you taking, just going beyond why are they leaving or how they're leaving, going to how fast or how quickly, the rate at which that is occurring. And that's an important metrics for us as HR, but that's not the conversation for today. That's another thing entirely. So there's a difference between the two of them. Of course, to get your turnover rate, you would need to know what your attrition is, how many people have left within a period of time, and all of that, right? Learn something? I'm sure you have. Last one, and this one I'm sure would interest everyone, is compensation and total reward, or let me just say salary and total rewards, right? And or we can say compensation and benefits. And this is also popularly misused because typically when you hear people talk about money, the only thing they mean is salary, what comes into their account at the end of the month, their compensation. They're not talking about the total reward. So what's the difference? Compensation is that monetary reward for work done over a period of time. So it could be salary, it could be wages, it could be allowance, right? But then that's the monetary reward you get for the work that you've done based off of agreements, contractual agreements, and all that. Whereas total reward means it includes compensation, but then also include non-monetary benefits that comes with the job or the work that you have done. So for 9 to 5ers, that would mean your HMO, your pensions, your employer's contribution to your pensions. Some people have wellness programs, some people have club subscriptions, they have lunch allowance. You come to the office, you get lunch once a week, so all the other things that is not necessarily money, that does not come into your account, but then it's still some sort of benefit to you, you still take advantage of it, right, is what we call total reward. So that's like the total package, the total rewards that you get for working in that organization. And so I'm smiling because most times when people are negotiating with HRs, like myself, recruiters, or their employers, they are only negotiating their salary and they don't think about benefits. They don't think about other things that will be beneficial to them during the course of that employment. Well, that's an error, and it should not be. But then, as the media HR, I would, how do I say this? Next episode, right? I would be sitting down with a compensations and benefit specialist. That's his forte. I would take would look deep into the conversation of compensation and be able to share with people what and what you should look out for when you're negotiating for these things, to be sure that you're not shortchanging yourself in any way. So you have to look out and wait till the next episode for that. But trust me, you will definitely get value. You will learn so much from this person who will be coming on the show by that time. So stay tuned. So that brings me to the end of today's episode. I hope that you've learned something. And if there are any other words that, you think, these are not all, there's so many more. But for me, I think these are like the top 6 that are frequently misused HR terminologies, right? And so if there's more, put it in the comment section and be kind enough to also tell us what the meaning is so that we can learn from that as well. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and of course leave a comment so that I can hear from you. Be my pleasure to hear from you. That'll be all in today's episode. Until next time, adios.